Hey guys, Ray from Love RV. So I'm back with a review of the Furrion Chill air conditioner. Figure this is a good time because the hot days are starting to wind down now as fall is coming into being. So it's been about 3 weeks or so. Overall, I find the air conditioner quite good. It's about 20% quieter than our older air conditioner, our Coleman Mach. 3. It cools better, definitely, but it is a 4.5 BTU versus 13.5. We did have about 7 days during the end of August there that got up to about 85 or more, 30 Celsius, and it had no problem cooling the rig down. I usually would set our inside temperature around 76, 24 Celsius, and it would cycle about 50% of the time. If I wanted to get it down to even 70 or 72, it would do it, but I didn't want to overwork it, and we're pretty comfortable at 76, so it did what we needed to do. The old Coleman Mach on those type of temperatures would pretty well run constantly. It would never cycle out like this one did. Good airflow in the ducts all the way to the bedroom, even at low fan speed. Basically, I never turn it up to high fan speed, so I don't feel any need for these diverters people are always talking about to get better airflow. In our RV, I guess being a smaller RV, airflow has never been a problem. Everything cools fine. Plus, I like to keep my main air vents free if I can, because sometimes I like to open them all up and get a really nice breeze going right above where I actually sit quite often. So I'm not going to put in those foam. They're like a styrofoam diverter, I think, that people are talking about. Anyway, I thought we'd go and take apart the unit on the roof and maybe do a power test of it, give you a demo of it in action. Let's go. So I figured I'd take it apart and give you a look inside. It only takes 8 screws to get that plastic cover off. It pretty well exposes everything. Interesting, they use 2 motors. My old Coleman Mach had 1 motor that ran both fans. So you have 1 motor for the outside fan here, and another motor for the inside fan. There's your compressor there. And then they have a box here. Looks like it's the electrical box. From what I've seen, I looked on a video by Lippert, and they took apart that box, and inside there was your capacitor. And that's sort of the same on this diagram. They say that inside there is a capacitor. So some people asked about a soft start circuitry. I don't see anything like that in this. I think it's a pretty basic system as far as the electrical goes. Then it uses this foam to cover things. Cover the 2 coils. This one looks like it just lifts off. You use some sort of goop here. Kind of a sticky, goopy material I noticed on that input. And over here, the piping goes in. But that basically just lifts off pretty easily. And that's the in going down. That's the intake there. And then here's the interior fan. So I like that everything's pretty easy to get at quickly. All the parts look like they can be purchased and installed pretty easily. Especially these motors. Also looks like as far as the water that comes off the condensation, I can see some channels in here. Looks like it comes down these channels on both sides. And then there's some holes, drain holes. From what I've found, it's just been basically dripping off onto my roof. Closer look at this side of the compressor and the piping. See if we can see any numbers on there. Yes, this looks like where they added the coolant into it and then topped off. So we'll give you a little demo of it in action here. First I'm going to turn on the fan, and then we'll turn on the air conditioner part of it. So there you go, there's a look inside the Furrion Chill, and a look at it running with the cover off. Overall, I'm kind of pleased with the design of it, as far as getting it apart very easily and getting access to all the things you may need to service or change on it and clean, versus my Coleman Mach was a little bit more of a pain to all take apart. Although the Coleman Mach was pretty well all metal casing, other than the outside shroud, so I'm a little worried this one's a little more plasticky, so durability could be a little less. I guess time will tell as far as that goes. So also I think this one's a little more of an attractive unit as far as the way it looks on the roof. Next, I think I'm going to test if my 3000 watt inverter can run this AC, just out of interest. We're down cooling mode. Nope. Looks like it wasn't able to do the trick. Overload. No, she overloads. Well, there you go, my Motormaster Eliminator from Canadian Tire, the 3000 watt inverter. Tried mightily to start the air conditioner, kind of hummed for maybe 4 or 5 seconds before it overloaded. I wasn't too surprised though. It's kind of a cheap end inverter, only cost me around $500, and mainly I just wanted to run my microwave and stuff like that, and it does a good job of that. Also, I'm only running 2-watt cabling, so it may be a little light for that startup. The microwave, or the AC, rated is 14.6 amps, 1620 watts, but when the compressor is starting up, it can draw up to 3 times that, so I guess it was just a little too much for this beast. I also tried it with my Energizer generator. I have a 2000 watt generator, 1600 watt constant amps, and it didn't do the trick at all either. So obviously, to me, that means that air conditioner doesn't have any kind of what they call soft start circuitry. So if I wanted to utilize either of these, I'd probably have to buy one of those additional soft start gadgets. But I don't really run my air conditioner all that often, or don't require it when I'm boondocking, just with the way I travel north and south. So I probably won't get into that. So there you go. I guess the bottom line is this air conditioner is a little bit quieter than our old one, and definitely cools much better. Well, it is a 14.5 versus 13.5 BTU unit, but it does do a better job at cooling. Also, judging by the disassembly, it's going to be a little easier for me to maintain it. It comes apart a little easier, and you can get at everything a lot easier than the older one. One thing a lot of people mentioned when I first published the install video is they talked a lot about these mini split units, which they are quieter and they draw much less amperage for the same kind of cooling. But looking at them, for me, they're quite the installation headache to put in. First, you've got to find a place inside your living area for this big box here to go. And then there's the outside kind of fan. I don't think they can kind of sit on the roof. They seem to have to sit up and down like this. So most people are putting them either on the front somewhere, which is kind of a pain on a fifth wheel, or more likely on the back bumper area. So then I'd have to find a place and then do the plumbing and electrical. It just seems quite the mod for me. I can see it being useful if you were often off-grid camping in areas, where you're going to need an AC. For us, we use maybe our air conditioner about six weeks a year or so. And that's mostly just on hookups in the summer. Because we travel north and south, we can make do with fans, and most times we don't need an air conditioner. We more often than not need a heater. Anyway, that's why I'm not installing something like that, but it is an option for roughly the same price. The other thing that worries me about these is they are mostly designed for houses, so I don't know how they would do with the road vibration. We were often going off grid on washboard and stuff, and maybe it'd be bouncing around a lot and maybe damage some of the internal things. Anyway, I just thought I would mention that. So if you missed the installation video, I'll link back to that. You can have a look at the install of the Furrion Chill. Till next time, Ray from Love Your RV. Cheers, everyone.